Hey guys, welcome back to another episode on DIY Chris. Now, I know I said that I would test every single individual Commodore, but I just, man, I'm so curious about this. Okay, this is the very low serial number one that I found, and I had to open it up. I haven't plugged it in yet. The first thing I did was I took out the SID chip, because if they think it's bad, it's possible the SID chip is bad, but it's also socketed, so any repair person would probably have already done that. I haven't checked the fuse, so let me do that really quick before I plug this in. We need continuity. Right. So, here, and... okay, so we have continuity in the fuse. I also have continuity from the fuse connectors. We need to test these capacitors, regulators. We'll test for voltages here once we turn this on. So, let's see. Plug in the video and power. Okay, let's turn this on. Well, we got a video signal. Could it be just a bad PLA? Well, before we throw a PLA in there, let's have a look at the voltage. So let's go to the user port, and that should be getting voltage from the power supply, so that should be fine. Yeah, it's a little low, 4.8. 4.8 in the RAM. So, yeah, I don't see any reason to not try the PLA. Now the question is my custom PLA going to work in here? This must be really old too. I mean, look, it has a sticker on it. It says C64 version 3, 8411. Too bad it doesn't. Well, we don't know that. We don't know if it's bad or not. Could just be the CIA chips. Let's put that in. No, still nothing. Ooh. I think we got some hot memory. Yeah. Oh, these are burning up. Okay. So I'm going to take my PLA out of there, because chances are, I don't know what the chances are. Can't find my spudger. I don't want to break anything. So I'm just going to very gently wiggle this out of here. So, if we have bad RAM, and the PLA is good, we should be able to use a dead test to get some sort of indicator on the screen, like some flashes or something. So let me grab a dead test cartridge. Okay, so I'm going to put the original PLA back in. Alright. There goes nothing. No flashing. Oh. Okay. Alright, so that's interesting. That could be a bad... Well, I'm going to say that one of these multiples of these memory chips are bad. So, what we can do is we can test this PLA in my other system, as well as the SID. So I'm going to test these two chips. And then if they're good, they'll get a big green sticker. So I'll be right back. So, happy times. Happy times. Both the PLA and the SID chip are in working order. How much in working order? I'm not 100% sure because I didn't really go into very in-depth testing. But they work well enough to play Lazy Jones and Donkey Kong and Super Zaxxon. So I am happy with these two chips right now. Okay, so these are good. So that means, unfortunately, we are going to have to dive deeper into this. Starting with maybe the VIC chip. But I doubt that... I mean, we're getting output when we turn this on. Well, we can. Actually put the PLA. I don't want to use that PLA. It's like let me get a donor PLA. This is my Frankenstein PLA. It's an original PLA, but it had some bad pins, so I put a socket on it and soldered on some extra pins. So. Video chip's getting warm. PLA is getting warm. Memory's getting toasty. Toasty. Alright, you know what? The memory, every single one of those modules is getting hot. So, I'm just going to do the honorable thing. The thing that probably no one wants to do. And take out those memory chips. Boy, look at the difference in how the board looks here compared to how it looks here. It's crazy, huh? So we're going to remove this LED. And unscrew this board carefully. Oh, that must be a broken standoff. What is this even in? Man, I did not want to have to solder this board at all. Like, this is not... I just wanted it to work. I mean, it's so old. And I want to have to fix traces if I accidentally pull some up. What is up with these? Alright, what's left? Nope, this is literally gonna lift out now. Wow, okay. Look at this old RF shield. Alright, so we're gonna have to somehow... There we go. Sorry, so what I'm doing off camera here is I'm unscrewing the standoff from the screw. I have to get creative with these standoffs. A lot of them looks like the screws just kind of the plastic kind of just gave out after time. Alright, that's fine. You go over here. You're gonna sit here. You're gonna be here. So, oh my god, my soldering iron has been on since yesterday. Alright. I really have to get better at turning my soldering iron off. Okay, so you're gonna be up here with me. Remove the RF shield. Oh, look at that. This one actually has plastic underneath it. Not cardboard. This is actual plastic, some sort of plastic. Very cool. Alright, let's look at the underside of this. Looks like somebody... Yeah, someone's been messing with this. Unless this is how they look. Which is all completely possible. The bodge wire. So first things first, let's take out the memory chips. I'm going to grab my desoldering pump. I'm so nervous to do this to this board. We'll start with this one. So we're going to start by adding solder back onto the pads. Fresh solder will help us remove the old solder. Now, you can tell that I'm trying to spend as little amount of time as possible on these pads. Like I said, they are extremely old, and man, just the slightest amount of too much heat, I would be devastated. Alright. Nice. Alright, so I just wanted to show you guys really quick. I finished desoldering all the RAM. Here, 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 and here, and then here, 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 and here. Now, out of all of these, I managed to only lift up one pad, which is, let me see if I can get something that I can point with. So that would be this guy right here. Okay, so I lifted that pad up, but luckily that pad doesn't connect to anything, on this side anyway. So on the other side, I almost lifted this pad, but I tested continuity all throughout and everything seems fine. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to just use some contact cleaner and clean up all of this mess so that let me just grab a towel. I don't know what happened to my towel, so I'll just use a shop towel for this. Alright, so the way I do this is I just spray and scrub. Scrubbing gently. Especially around where I almost lifted the pad. While we're at it, let's go ahead and scrub the rest of this floor down. Because the next thing I'm going to do is rinse this off with soap. Of course, I'm hoping that after this, once I socket everything, hoping this will fix the issue. Alright, let's do this over here too. Just kind of scrubbing all throughout. Scrub those contacts. Scrub them on this side too. I'm going to remove my PLA out of here. Also going to remove the CPU and the character ROM. And I'm also going to remove the VIC chip. Now, obviously, what I'm hoping for here is that once I get new memory put in here, well, not new memory, but new old memory, once I get that put in here, I'm hoping that it'll work, because if it doesn't, then I'll be desoldering these two chips, which I really don't want to do. One more thing I'm going to do is, we don't actually need this right now, so let's take this off. Alright, well, there it is. There's our board. After I've used contact cleaner all over it and then gave it a good bath. Look at how nice and clean everything looks. Look at these contacts. They cleaned up really nice. Got rid of all that oxidation. Okay. So, here comes, you know, the fun part. I'm going to put sockets. And here's a funny story. I almost didn't have enough of these. Time to order some new ones. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to seat these. So the way that I do that is I bend a pin on each corner so that they stay in place, so that I can do multiples of these without constantly having to turn the board back over to put another one on. So once I've got them all seated, I'm going to solder all of them. So I'm going to go ahead and do that really quick. These will look fairly straight. So I'm going to solder each corner on each socket, and then we're going to turn the board around and have a look and see if they all look good. And by that I mean that they're up against the board and that they're straight, because I'd be damned if I'm going to do this again. I'm not. Once these are in, they're in. so those are the corners. So let's have a look and see. Hopefully these look exactly how I want them to, so I don't have to mess with them. Alright, I'd say that's pretty good. Now, you guys will get to enjoy a nice long time lapse and listen to some music while I do this. Alright, that covers that. Looks good. But what we're going to do before we turn this on, before we put memory in it, before we turn it back on, is we're going to do one last cleaning of this, because I'm using rosin core solder, which means that we've got some rosin that we need to clean up. Some flux from our... And also, before we do that, I want to make sure that that one that we lifted the pad on, because I had to let the solder flow through that hole. I think that was this one. Okay, so we have continuity. Okay. I am happy with that. So, I'll be right back. Alright, now, get my box of DRAM. So we got 1 and 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Alright. So with RAM, I like to make sure that, I mean, sometimes, a lot of times it doesn't matter, but I like to make sure that it's all the same brand, definitely all the same speed. But I think that it just looks good when it's all the same. And a lot of what I do, a lot of what I like to do, is always comes back to like, okay, so functionality is one thing, but is it also aesthetically pleasing, right? I mean, you guys are watching this, so you must have some form of like thought as to, you know, how you'd want something like this to look like. I am very like, the aesthetics of this make, like, they're a big deal to me. Like, if I were to remake this board, I'd probably lay it out slightly differently, because I'm very like OCD when it comes to laying all these things out appropriately. Now we have all new RAM. new old RAM. Replaced all the RAM chips in here. All the RAM chips. Alright, let's put in my PLA. We don't need to worry about the SID. Don't need that. It's a boot. Put in the original CPU. Let's do this. Now these things are like super tight, which is nice, which is interesting because I don't want to have to, really don't want to have to replace any of these sockets. I don't like the single wipe sockets, single wipe blades. Oh, we're getting close and I'm getting nervous. Alright, do one final inspection. Make sure that there's nothing short-circuiting anywhere. Everything looks good. Alright, so let's throw on our little indicator light. Plug in the power and the monitor. And turn on the TV. And on 3, shall we do 3? 1, 2, 3. Holy cow! Look at that. Reporting the right amount of RAM. All looks good. This video chip's definitely seen better days. You can tell that it's not. The video chip needs to be replaced. This is the old ceramic style video chip. But now that I have this, I am curious because I haven't had the opportunity to test my PLA in this board. Nice! Comes right up. Okay. Wow, I could not be happier with this result. So now let me remove my PLA. And since we know that the original PLA actually works in here, put that back in. A Commodore this old, I'd like to keep factory as much as I possibly can. Put the original SID back in. And the only thing I might replace is that VIC chip. So let's try out a. All right, let's do a dead test. Guess I could have done a diagnostics. Well, that's interesting. Something happened to the dead test? Doesn't like the dead test. So I got two more tests here. And test the diagnostic cartridge. I really, really hope there's nothing wrong with the cartridge port on this thing. Let's do diagnostic. Ooh, that's not fun. Do we need to clean this? Probably need to clean this. RAM is running nice and cool now. Nice. So let's try out Canabalt. I got a feeling I'm going to have to do some work to this this cartridge port. Alright. Looks like it's going to load the game. So there are some obvious things I still need to do. I don't know if they're obvious, but well, number one, before I actually end this video, we're going to put the RF shield back on. Why? Because this RF shield is actually kind of cool. cable. So yeah, I like the way that this RF shield looks. It's kind of unique because you don't see very many that way anymore. And I'm going to keep it on here because it's a piece of history, you know? It's part of the C64. We're going to continue to keep it part of this C64. I'm going to get this thing back together. Alright, RF shield is back. Let's go ahead and check again. Make sure we didn't create a short somewhere. Interesting. And we're good. So now the only thing left to do is the case, right? So what do you do with this? What do you do with this? So these emblems, they still have their plastic protective like coating. Check this out. See that? I don't know if this is supposed to come off or stay on or what, but I'm gonna, once I get like to cleaning this case, I'm gonna start to work on that. Alright, so but for now, the electronics part of this is done. So I hope you guys liked this video. If you did, give me a thumbs up. If you didn't, give me a thumbs down. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel and click the bell for notifications. And I'll see you guys next time.